My favorite day-to-day breakfast is usually a simple egg and cheese sandwich, usually on a bagel, but wow, are they great on bao, Chinese-style steamed buns, and bao are far easier than bagels to make at home from scratch. For about a dozen buns, we'll start with about a cup of water or milk, 237 mils with a teaspoon of yeast, a teaspoon of sugar, teaspoon of coarse salt, or maybe half that if you have fine salt, which is more dense. Lots of East Asian bread recipes use baking powder in addition to yeast for extra fluff, a teaspoon of that. And then bao come out a lot softer if you replace like 10% of your all-purpose flour with some kind of starch. I'm just eyeballing this. Oh, a teaspoon or two of oil is common and also makes the buns softer. Now, what has become my go-to method of mixing bread doughs is to stir in as much flour as I can get in there easily with a spoon, and then I stop. Cover and let it rest for like 20 minutes. After that, the flour has hydrated and autolysed, and it will now be much easier to knead in the remaining flour. This will require me ditching the spoon after a little while and then getting in there with my hands. Bao dough is pretty low hydration, so we need this dough to absorb a lot of flour, and that involves just bashing it in there. At the end, we should have a dough ball that is smooth and soft and just barely sticky. It's basically the same vibe as dough for naan. Okay, now we can cover that and let it rise for a couple of hours. This recipe is part of an effort by me and Lauren to eat more breakfast at home instead of going out so often. And I have no problems with that because this Trade coffee is legit far better than any regular cup I've ever had from any brunch place. Thanks to Trade for sponsoring this video. Trade does not make you coffee, Trade finds you coffee. 55 plus of the best independent roasters in the United States are part of Trade's network. When you subscribe to Trade, partner roasters will start sending you new and interesting coffees, roasted to order and selected for your tastes. Ooh, a blend of washed and natural processed beans. If you don't know what that means, you'll learn through your Trade subscription. Okay, bag, if you're going to give me such detailed brewing instructions, I'll try it your way with the scale and everything. But Trade has coffees for you if you just want to buy pre-ground coffee, decaf, whatever, and you can choose a delivery schedule that works with how fast you go through your coffee. I'm sorry, but that might be the best cup of coffee I've ever made. Silky smooth mouthfeel and a great blend of light and dark flavor notes. You can get a free bag of roasted to order coffee when you buy a select subscription from Trade at drinktrade.com/Ragusia. That's drinktrade.com/Ragusia. Thank you, Trade. After a couple hours, our bao dough is roughly doubled. Time to take it out and roll it flat. No flour or anything on the counter. The slight stickiness will actually help me roll this out to about a centimeter, I'd say. And then a pint glass is a really good size cutter to punch out these rounds and onto parchment paper. Press and twist. Press and twist. You can steam these on top of coffee filters too. That probably works even better. When we're done, we really can gather all this up and start again. We don't have to wait for the gluten to relax or anything. This is a relatively supple dough. I was able to use almost all of this scrap. For the folded style of bao, the standard thing is to rub just a little oil on the surface of the rounds and then fold them over on themselves. Grease and fold, grease and fold. The oil will make sure that we can open these back up again later to fill. I will cover and let these puff up for 20 or 30 minutes before steaming. And if you have stackable bamboo steamer baskets, people use those for a reason, but you can do it in a roasting tray with a rack to keep the food up out of the boiling water. It's nice that you can do them all in one batch this way. The problem is you have to cover this, and foil is probably the only option for such an irregular shape, but I can reuse this foil. Doesn't need to be a perfect seal, just trap some of that steam, and steam until the buns feel springy and cooked inside, which took me about 10 minutes. If you overcook them, they'll start kind of collapsing and getting tough. I'll pull these out and let them cool for a minute, after which they are soft and steamy and surprisingly bagel-like with that gelatinized wet-cooked surface. Eat them now or throw the tray in the freezer, and then the next morning we can do a quick breakfast. The buns are so small and light that they thaw on the counter in like 30 minutes, but you can speed that up in the microwave or whatever. So-called American cheese is the clear choice for such a sandwich because it melts so readily. That's what it was invented for. I'll just jam a piece of cheese into each one of these. Just one egg should do us for half a dozen little buns. Pepper, salt, a splash of water or milk to lighten the texture a bit. Whisk well. This is definitely a day for a non-stick pan. Melt some butter in there and then pour in the egg. I'm going for a paper-thin, solid layer of egg that will be easy to tear into little strips. As soon as the sheet is solid enough to fold over on itself, I will do so and then kill the heat. You don't have to assemble these directly in the pan with your fingers. That's fine. You can be civilized. I will defend to the death your right to make bad choices for yourself, but I'm just doing this in the pan with my fingers. Jam each of these full, and I will then turn the heat back on and lightly fry the bottoms of these in the residual butter. I'm finishing these like pot sticker style. Once golden brown on the bottom, I will pour in just a little water to re-steam these. Cover and turn off the heat. Or maybe leave the heat on, I don't know. Just re-steam these until that bit of water is gone, and check it out! Steam is really what makes cheese melt all gooey like that, and the buns have been warmed through. They have toasty bottoms, but we've preserved the steamy identity of the tops, which again makes this taste amazingly similar to a bagel sandwich, even though it's much easier to make from scratch, and it's even easier to eat. Wrap up a few of those in foil, take them to work, and make everybody around your desk real jealous. Hey, can I have one of those? Oh, make them yourself!